All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. Welcome to another episode of Naven Gaming, where today we are playing Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. So, this is another Warhammer game, of course. We're going to continue the trend of playing more Warhammer games. Well, specifically 40k. I don't know if I'll ever get into the fantasy version, but who knows? Maybe I will try it. I don't know. Maybe I'll try Vermintide or something. I know a friend of mine has Vermintide, so maybe I'll play it. But I'll get it. But I don't know. Anyways, so I don't know much of anything about this game. I'm gonna be honest. I bought this game because I know it's story rich. It's got a story to it, and I'm definitely down for more story-related content. I think we all are. You know, if it's one thing that I've learned from playing Darktide, Deathwing, and Space Marines 2, is that more story content would be lovely, right? So I thought, why not get a game that's very story-rich? The only thing that's a bit questionable is that this was a bit of a Diablo-esque kind of game. Well, kind of Diablo-esque. It's more like a D&D style kind of game, right? It's like Baldur's Gate. That's what I got the vibe of when I was looking at the store page of this thing. And I was also watching the trailer just a second ago. Because, again, I bought this game purely just out of a whim, right? Because it's got a story and everything. So, of course, we're going to go with English. But, yeah. Let's get into it, shall we? It looks interesting. It looks like it's going to focus on a few... It looks like you're going to be doing a bunch of other things, right? Instead of being just a regular old Space Marine... And instead of doing whatever the hell you were doing in Darktide, it looks like we're going to be doing something. I'm not sure. Gamma correction. Damn. That's a bit of contrast, actually. To be honest, my contrast is already pretty good. I'm using a laptop that has HDR functionality close damn near to it, so I don't need to do any of that. What's this? Accessibility. Oh, I see. Okay. Font size. We're pretty much good. A very small percentage of individuals may experience epileptic seizures or blackouts. I see. I accept. One of these days I'm gonna sell my soul to one of those fucking things, I swear to God. I'm gonna sell my soul to one of those fucking things, I swear to God. Yeah. Oh yeah, quick save slots, that's pretty good. Ugh. Borderless window, I'm glad they have that. High, Ultra, and Steam Deck. We'll go with quality for now. Yes. Alright. Let's turn that in the game a little bit. Because why not? Let's just turn everything down to this frequency so that way I can actually hear the voices, you know? Frequency of character response constantly. What does that mean? Accessibility. Alright, we're back to that. Yes. Bloodstains gore. I know I'm kind of going through most of this crap, but somebody's got to focus on. Actually, is there I haven't found it yet. Doesn't look like it. Alright. Anyways. There's a cooperative mode? Main story, Void Shadows. Is the first major story expansion to Rogue Trader, offering a massive amount of content with about 15 hours of fresh gameplay and new romanceable companion fully integrated into the game's main story. People do love their romanceable companions. Difficulty, story, custom, normal. Grim Darkness. In the grim darkness of the far future, there's only war. This mode is the ultimate challenge for the boldest of the Lord Captains who want to truly immerse themselves in the world of Warhammer 40k with the highest stakes possible. Grim Darkness mode are final and irreversible. You only have a single save, which is updated automatically every time you exit the game. No loading from an earlier point, no second chances, no change in oh, I see. Huh. Oh, I have to go in here. I mean, as much as I would love to just play the game for the story, I'm a true gamer. I don't like to play games on their bitch mode. I'm just such a glutton for punishment. I see. Preset characters. Create your own Rogue Trader from scratch. The possibilities are endless when it comes to customizing your character, choosing your homeworld, gender, background. Okay. Rogue Trader portrait. I've yet to create the character itself, so let's focus on that first. Alright. The first face is fine. This body type is true to real life, but I'm not going for true to real life at the moment. Let's see here. I'll go with the first one, why not? In these types of games, you don't necessarily need to spend so much time with the character creator. It's not going to be the most important thing. You know? This one's pretty okay. Eyebrows. The bushiest of eyebrows. I was very tempted to play to play Darktide today, but I ended up not doing that because I was like, you know what? I don't know if that video is gonna succeed or not. Might as well diversify a little bit, you know, make another recording of me playing this game rather than that one just to see. Because as much as I enjoy playing Darktide, I don't know if that's something that people would actually want to see. I tried to be a bit reasonable with my content, but eyebrow color. Ah, facial hair. Let's put down the scars first. That seems fine to me. Well, actually... yeah. That seems good enough. What do you guys think? Goatee or without the goatee? Goatee, you say? Ah, that's a good idea. Might as well be on point, right? I have no expectations for this game at the current moment. The most that I'm going to get from this game is that, oh, it's going to be a slightly different experience from every other horror game I've played so far. It's about the most I got. I'm also going into this thinking it's going to just be a Baldur's Gate-like game. Why not? No, wait a minute. What? Oh, okay. I was wondering where I was. Augmentations. What are these? Oh, okay. I wanted to get some cybernetics in there. Personally, I'm not too down with the cybernetics, but I don't mind getting some cybernetics in there. That's a nose. This one's pretty neat. This one actually kind of slaps, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I could get a second one, too. Hey, look. My character looks like Raiden from NGR. Yeah. This is fine. Voice. Bold male.
I'll see you terminated! You didn't stand a chance!
For the Emperor! Heresy grows from idleness. We have purified the battlefield of the enemy's taint.
Heretic and Madvale. Huh. So you can also be a heretic in this game. Huh. That's a interesting place to channel.
To arms! I don't need luck. I have strategy. Lance batteries, volley!
Oh no, I like pragmatic more.
Blood and mayhem shall be our anthem. Unleash the storm of macro cannons.
The destination is known.
It's a fucking voice. That is a fucking voice. Oh god, I just saw the tabs. Homeworld, Origin, Triumph. Man, we are gonna go through it, aren't we? Let's see here. A custom portrait. I don't know about that. So far these portraits, not so much. Oh, I can import a portrait. I guess I'll just go ahead and use, Doesn't really matter, does it? Some of these are kind of cool, actually, but... There we go. Next. Homeworld. Alright, so... First choices are Voidborn, Hive World, Forge World, Imperial World, Death World, Fortress World. Interesting. Oh, and they give you characteristic modifiers. Interesting. Very, very interesting. On Death Worlds, the planets, the beasts, and sometimes even the environment itself takes aggressive, destructive forms inimical to human life. Whilst exceptionally difficult to colonize, many Death Worlds possess valuable resources that require an outpost or other human presence upon the planet's surface to harvest. These harsh environments result in some of the hardiest and most resilient populations in the galaxy. Those tested and found wanting die young. Feature survival instincts. Once per combat, when the wounds of a Death World character drop below 30%, they gain 20% of their maximum wounds as temporary wounds. Also gain 20% to dodge and armor while they have at least one temporary wound from any source. They get bonuses to strength, toughness, and agility. Intelligence, not so much. What's Voidborn? Voidborn are humans birthed in the belly of a void vessel or aboard an ancient orbital satellite. Those who have lived their lives on void ships become injured to some extent due to the reality-altering process of warp travel into living in low or zero-gravity environments. In many cases, their features are drawn and their skin pallid. They may even have minor deformities or strangeness to their speech, gait, or general appearance that sets them apart from others. Interesting. Our world's population is so dense that great swaths of the surface of the world are frequently covered in gargantuan cities, bejeweled with towering spires that pierce the atmosphere. High worlds are vital to the welfare of the Imperium and are beating heart of its economy and war machine. They produce munitions for the Emperor's armies and vast manufactories, mine valuable minerals, refine fuel for the Imperial Navy. Innumerable regiments of the Astra Militarum are raised from their massive populations. Fellowship and agility. What's fellowship? Represents a character's ability to interact with other creatures to deceive, charm, or befriend them. Oh. It's charisma. If there are 3 or more creatures, allies, or enemies in the 3-cell radius. Forged for purpose. Interesting. Forged worlds are domain of Adeptus Mechanicus. Entire planets succeed to the demands of vast macro industries. Each is a manufacturing supercomplex of unimaginable capacity and power. Over the millennia, different forged worlds have become especially renowned for their philosophies or ways of war. These are often colored by the technologies they specialize in manufacturing. The bulk of a forged world's population is utilized as a labor force, whilst the fortunate few may be inducted into the ranks of the Adeptus Mechanicus itself. Not very interested. Bye. Imperial world. Alright. An Imperial world is one of the million planets united by the belief that the immortal God Emperor hailing from hyper-technological societies to grimy feudal populations. The inhabitants of countless worlds offer fealty and devotion to Master of Humanity, and the Imperial Creed espoused by his servants. The designation Imperial World encompasses a vast array of wholly dissimilar worlds that are, nevertheless, part of the Imperium. Imperial World characters can select any characteristic except for weapon skill or ballistic skill and add a 10+ bonus. Oh, interesting. Ready to serve. When an Imperial World character is affected by an ally's non-damaging ability or affects an ally with such an ability, their resolve is increased by... Well, under 40% wounds, an Imperial character gain a 10 plus to all characteristics. If no other character in the current party has the same archetype as this character, the first archetype ability used in each combat by this character costs. Fortress World. Fortress worlds are planets with the entire populace is immersed in warfare. They constantly train for the day that they may be called upon defending the Imperium, a charge they solemnly uphold. Fortress worlds are established as bulwarks against the enemy. Every citizen is a soldier, trained to fight from the moment they can handle a weapon. Each time a Fortress World character kills an enemy, they gain a 10 plus stack of Never Stop Shooting. At the start of the turn, there is a stack of Never Stop Shooting chance that their first attack this round will cost 0 AP and will not count toward the attack limit per turn. All stacks are lost. Surroundings. This seems fine, actually. Combat Addict. Fortress World characters gain 7 plus to ballistic skill, perception, and willpower while in combat. Yet while out of combat, their intelligence, fellowship, and perception and willpower are decreased by 7. Each round, Fortress World character gain a stacking of 1 bonus to dodge against ranged attacks for each shot they made during the round. At the end of their turn, Fortress World characters gain a stack of Never Stop Shooting equal to... When all stacks of Never Stop Shooting should be lost, they become WP bonus stacks instead. Additionally, a Fortress World character may upgrade their willpower characteristic even if their character archetypes do not allow it. These are all things that are going to go over my head, isn't it? Alright, moving on. Okay, Astra Militarum Commander. The Astra Militarum, commonly known as the Imperial Guard, is the primary fighting force of the Imperium and the first line of defense from the myriad of threats that endanger the existence of humanity the 41st millennium. You have served as one of the commanders of the Astra Militarum Regiment, commanding thousands and winning battles in the name of the God Emperor. Commissar. Commissars are the Officio Perfectus, are ruthless officers charged with maintaining morale, discipline, and fighting spirit of their Astra Militarum Regiment. You used to be one of the faithful servants of the God Emperor, a living symbol of the Imperium authority, regarded with a mix of fear and awe by their subordinates. A crime lord. Oh boy. The Imperium survives and prospers in no small part due to the narrowness of its vision, but a rebellious mind will such as yours could not be so easily constrained. The dark paths of smugglers and renegades that wind behind the facade of the Imperium society offers a dangerous refuge for those unwilling to bow to the law. You used to be one of these dangerous yet resourceful individuals. Yeah. The Ecclesiarchy, known formerly as the Adeptus Ministorum, is a vast institution that oversees the galaxy-spanning religion of the Imperium. The Ecclesiarchy's complex hierarchies of cardinals, missionaries, preachers, and zealous laity ensure the prescribed prayers and invocations are made, all the while instructing the masses to guard against heresy and deviancy. You used to be one of those fiery and charismatic individuals concerned with keeping a close watch on your congregation. Navy Officer. The Imperial Navy is responsible for the fleet of void ships that assert the dominance of the Imperium amid the stars and fulfill other duties connected to the void and warp travel. You used to be a Navy officer and a commander of void ships, hardened in numerous battles and famous for resounding victories. Boy, oh boy. A noble. A fucking noble. The high nobility of the Imperium are an enormously privileged and powerful elites, a breed apart from the common masses they rule. You grew into adulthood upon a pedestal of affluence and grandeur that towered high above the common masses. You expected their obedience and lived upon the fruits of their toil, surrendered to your family in solemn fealty. They sound like ass. Not gonna lie. They sound like assholes. Oh, you can change the outfits in here. Okay. Sanctioned Psyker. Psykers are feared and distrusted, but are nonetheless valuable assets to the Imperium. The role of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica is to recruit, identify, and classify those found to possess psychic abilities. The most powerful who somehow survive the rigorous sanctioning rituals are selected to serve on the battlefield. The mind of a sanctioned psyker is steeled against the manifold dangers risked by wielders of war powers. You were one of those found worthy to serve humanity and have miraculously survived the perils of the warp. Note, damaging psyker powers count as weapon attacks, countering toward the normal attack limit per turn, gaining all the benefits of abilities and talents, increasing the damage of attacks. For example, a soldier using the run and gun ability will be able to use damaging psyker powers twice per turn, and an operative's analysis enemy abilities affects the damage of damaging psyker powers. No idea what the fuck that means at all. Alright. So let's see. So far I'm looking at Astra Military Commander and Commissar. Maybe even Crime Lord. But I'm going to see what all the abilities are here. The Astra Military Commander and all their allies deal an additional 20 plus 2 to per bonus damage to enemies that are adjacent to the commander or their allies until the end of the commander's next turn. All the commander's allies also suffer no damage from allies' attacks until the end of the commander's next turn. It can only be used once per combat. That might be nice. Ballistic skill, perception, athletics, Medicae, talents. While in the Astra Military Commander is under the Regimental Tactics effect, their single target melee ranged attacks and area of attacks gain 20 plus to dodge reduction, parry reduction, and cover penetration against enemies adjacent to the commander or their allies. Is under the Regimental Tactics effect, all their allies gain a 5 plus to rate of fire. Every time a commander or ally uses a heroic act, the commander gains 5 plus to all their characteristics until the end of combat. Under the Regimental Tactics effect, killing an enemy adjacent to an ally grants that ally an additional 10 plus momentum. This is definitely a character I would want to keep around the party if I was gonna make this character a commander. The Commissaires, the next single shot or single target melee attack applies the following effects. Enemy target. The target becomes marked. The ally who kills the marked enemy gains an extra turn after the current one with 2 AP and 4 plus MP. That sounds actually kind of broken. Allied targets. All allies gain an additional 1 plus AP and 3 plus MP for 1 round. Can only be used once per combat. The Commissaire themselves cannot gain bonuses from this ability. Can only be used once per combat. Weapon skill, fellowship, coercion, athletics. Is under the effects of at all costs. That ally suffers 50% damage but gains 2 AP and 4 MP. Is adjacent to an enemy, all their allies gain bonus 2 to resolve. Anytime the Commissaire grants additional movement points to any ally character, they give 2 plus movement points more. If the Commissaire kills the target with at all costs, they can use at all costs once more this combat for 0 AP. When momentum is less than 100 points, at all costs grants 20 momentum upon killing the marked enemy or targeting an ally. I'm honestly tempted to go for Commissaire now, but I'm not sure. Let me see. Surefire plan. At the start of combat, the Crime Lord gains intelligent bonus stacks of the Surefire plan effect. Activation of this ability consumes 1 stack and makes the next action stronger depending on the type of action. 10 bonus more damage. If the Crime Lord moves, they gain 10 plus bonus to dodge and parry until the end of the turn. If the Crime Lord uses a non-damaging ability on an enemy, that enemy suffers negative 10 plus intelligence penalty to damage for 1 round. Yeah. I kind of like the Astra Militarum background, but the Commissaire seems just as interesting. But I'm gonna go with a commander. Alright. Next up, we're going to Triumph. Apex of Brilliance. Though reforms in leadership, you restored a broken Imperial Guard regiment to its former martial glory. Lore, +5 Imperium. Illustrious, you and your guardsmen defend a shrine world and received a high commendation for your feats. 5 plus athletics. You utilize your talents as a commander to achieve a great victory over the ruinous powers. 5+ persuasion. I'm gonna go with Feet of Greatness. Darkest Hour. You lost an entire regiment in the Immaterium during a Jellerfield failure, yet you yourself emerge unscathed. -5 awareness. As the commander-in-chief of a disastrous military campaign, you were buried in shame. Coercion, -5. Shadow of Torment. Captured by heretics, you suffered unbearable torture at the hands of humanity's enemies. Medicaid, -5. Interesting. I'm gonna go with Medicaid 1. Shadow of Torment. Archetypes. You can only choose one of the first tier archetypes at this moment. Archetypes are development paths that your characters follow. Each archetype encapsulates a unique set of skills and expertise and represents a specific combat specialization, from the frontline warrior to the indispensable leader, preferring to command from the rear. Choose who you want to be in the grim dark future of Warhammer 40k. Let's see. Warriors are combatants boasting exceptional melee prowess, capable of dealing high damage in close quarters combat and withstanding heavy amounts of damage. They also excel at drawing enemies' attention from less defended allies. Officers use their willpower and fellowship to improve the combat capabilities of their allies, turning them into even greater threats on the battlefield. Core focus, extra turns. Single target buffs, rescue allies momentum. Operative. An operative uses intelligence and perception to find and exploit weakness in an enemy defense. None can withstand an attack from an operative. Precise single attacks, defense penetration, area debuffs, consistent fire position. And soldier. The soldier is a master of all ranged weapons, quickly able to assume an advantageous position from where they stand, ready to rain fire on the enemy, while well trained in highly diverse range of arms. A soldier is particularly proficient at blasting their targets with burst fire and area weapons. Movement and ranged attacks, cover and dodge, burst fire, area attacks. Their next attack costs -1 AP less and does not count toward the attack limit per turn. The soldier immediately removes the winded effect until the end of combat. The soldier gains the following: 10+ ballistics, critical chance. Becomes available after a soldier kills 3 enemies. The kill counter is not reset between shots. I feel like soldier would be the best for this character. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like soldier would be the best for this character. Let's do it. We'll make you the soldier. Alright. Next. Characteristics. Alright. So these are the stats, and we already got the stat bonuses reflected here. Reflects a character's competence in all forms of close quarters combat. Increase their parry and reduce enemies' parry chance against melee attacks. It has also increased chances of scoring critical hits. Persuasion is governed by fellowship. How physically strong a character is, it affects damage. The damage a character inflicts with melee weapons and allows them to lift heavier objects. For each point of strength bonus, character deals 5% more damage with one-handed melee weapon or with two-handed melee weapons. Defines how easily a character can shrug off pain, as well as how easily they can resist toxins, poisons, environments, diseases, and other physical ailments. Oh, wow. Okay. Agility. I'm gonna definitely increase ballistics. I'd like my character to be a bit more perceptive. I think willpower's okay. Measures a character's quickness and reflex and poise. High agility allows a character to manipulate delicate explosives with finesse or to keep their footing when crossing treacherous terrain. It improves the character's initiative, dodge, chance, and reaction. If a character uses melee weapons, their dodge reduction is equal to the half of their agility. I think I will put a point in fellowship, though, just to get it out of that. Sword class frigate. What is this? Void ships. Patient fortune. Oh, I can name it. We'll be traveling by ship. Sword class frigates. Sword class frigates is a classic void ship design, proven in thousands of battles, combining decent firepower, high speed, and respectable survivability. Okay, the Von Valancy flagship is the mightiest void ship belonging to the Von Valancy dynasty. Every system aboard this frigate has been tried and tested in innumerable engagements. Its weapons and turrets deliver hard-hitting volleys with pinpoint accuracy. Its plasma drives are rugged yet reliable. In extreme conditions, this flagship's size and maneuverability are perfect for pursuing smaller, faster raiders and for hunting the countless pirates, Xenos, and heretics of Koronos Expanse. Numerous Von Valancy rogue traders have acknowledged the exceptional performance of this vessel, and with a few minor updates, the flagship has continued to faithfully serve the Von Valancy dynasty. Firestorm class is a modification of the sword class designed to deliver fire strikes against larger enemy ships and not shying away from engagements with superior opponents. The Von Valancy flagship is the mightiest void ship belonging to the Von Valancy dynasty. Every system aboard this frigate has been tried and tested in numerous engagements. Yeah. Its plasma drives heard, yeah. So this is the only real difference here, is whatever's up here is a modification of the sword class designated to deliver fire strikes against the larger enemy ships, not shying away from engagements with superior opponents. I do value survivability over anything else. Daring Destiny. Harbinger of War. That's something I'll probably give the Firestorm. Destiny Hunter. Unbound Avarice. That's a fucking name. Eye of Providence. How about Destiny Hunter? Why not? Show clothes, show helmet, show backpack. Okay. Yeah, this seems fine. Ignatius, Abner, Borin, Isidorus, Wilbur, Abner. Okay, getting back to that. Finian, Cornelius. You know what? I'll take that. Alright, we're almost an hour in, and we're finally past the character creator. Since this is the first time I've actually played a game like this, at least for a bit, I'm sure how I spec my character isn't exactly perfect, but... Nobody said everything had to be perfect. You can enable install DLC in your current playthrough. Opening DLC section of the in-game after loading. Okay. Oh, in case you wanted to use mods. Fascinating.
An excellent place for contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
You are in dialogue. Here you can learn more about current events, influence the characters you are speaking to, or even alter the course of the game's narrative. Your character's personal story depends on the dialogue choices you make. Available dialogue options are displayed on the right. Select a reply by clicking the left mouse button or pressing the corresponding digit on your keyboard. Interesting, so they also give you context too. So, let's see. The guide, the ruler, and the highest power to which humanity offers their prayers for aid and deliverance. Most would be driven mad without despair if they knew the truth. Oh, you can even learn more. The divine presence who sits on the golden throne of Terra in the hearts of the Imperium, towering over his willing servants as their rightful master. He's depicted and worshipped in myriad forms by souls beyond counting through his Imperium. Ugh. Humankind is united and remains one of the most powerful, intelligent species in the galaxy. Well, yeah. Truly an awe-inspiring sight. Frankly, such an excess can be tiring at times. All this ostentatious luxury, this laughable pretense, it is enough to make one think that the architects meant to compensate rather than glorify. I like this answer.
An interesting perspective. However, allow me to offer you a bit of advice. In the interests of your own well-being, you should frame your thoughts with greater piety. Demonstrating such a lack of care when choosing your words might be viewed by certain people as evidence of insufficient trepidation before the God Emperor, the master of humanity.
Let's see. I do not show deference for things I do not believe in myself. You seem to attach more importance to words. Well, I have a fondness for names. I have yet to hear yours. That's a fucking response. I actually like that response. I prefer to serve by acting, not speaking. You seem to attach much more importance to words. Well, I have a fondness for names. I have yet to hear yours.
My apologies. The statements you made were so intriguing that I forgot myself.
I'm glad we're both getting something interesting out of this. The man let out a laugh that he definitely masks by clearing his throat.
Allow me to introduce myself. Conrad Voigtveer, Master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship Rogue Trader Theodora von Valencius. At your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
See, now this is the one I actually want to know. A subject of the Imperium with a unique hereditary title. A rogue trader is tasked with exploring and exploiting the still uncharted regions of the galaxy for the benefit of mankind. Oh, interesting. For the benefit of mankind, rogue traders are hereditary nobles, the bearers of a sacred warrant of trade that empowers them to roam those worlds of the galaxy that lie beyond the Imperium's control or knowledge. They are free to decide how to react to alien cultures, ancient technologies, new planets, or worlds with harboring long-forgotten human civilizations, and are first and foremost masters of their own fates. Interesting. That's actually a pretty unique role, if you ask me. Fairly unique. Free to decide how to react to alien cultures, ancient technologies, and new planets or worlds harboring long-forgotten human civilizations. Beyond Imperium's control or knowledge. They are free to decide how to react. them to roam those worlds of the galaxy that lie beyond the Imperial's control or knowledge. Interesting. Okay. I don't think I can have him repeat that, can I? Allow me to introduce myself, Conrad. I don't know how to say that last name, and I wasn't paying attention necessarily. Can I get you to repeat dialogue? That'd be nice. It doesn't look like I can. Alright, anyways. Conrad Voigtavir, Master of Whispers in the employ of her ladyship rogue trader Theodore von Valencia. At your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before. Voigtavir bows his head and focuses attention on you. We could be pretty professional or just casual. Lieutenant General Cornelius Scipio Grimold, commander of the 8th Army of the Scanthian Janisarius. That's a fucking name.
My regards, Lieutenant General. The Astra Militarum is the hammer of the God Emperor, isn't that what they say? Well, it is likely that fate will give you ample opportunity to demonstrate your talents as a commander.
Voigtavir smiles faintly, but you are not sure if it is directed at you. I have a feeling you're an asshole.
You may forget your past titles, no matter who gave them to you, or what their origins are. From the moment you and the other candidate were brought aboard this void ship, your fate changed. You now serve Lord Captain Theodora von Valencias, and carry the burden of an heir of this house. Henceforth, you share your dynastic name with her ladyship. Bear it with honor.
I like this question. You have a curious title, Master of Whispers. What are your responsibilities?
To put it plainly, I am the head of the network of spies and informers who serve the interests of House von Valencias. I uncover weak links both among Lady Theodora's retinue and in the ranks of her rivals. I eliminate our vulnerabilities and exploit those of others.
Interesting. Let's see. Is it a strange title? Why not?
Such are the traditions of the Imperium. Lord Captain is the title that was established in the annals of the Lex Imperialis at the time when the first rogue traders entered the God Emperor's service, and therefore, it is sacrosanct.
Tell me about the one on whose ship I have found myself.
I would rather not discuss the Lord Captain behind her back, especially not on board her ship. No one knows better than I that whispers are wont to attract particularly close attention. Suffice it to say that her ladyship is the bearer of the sacred warrant of trade and a woman of immense power and entitlement. However privileged your position may be, I ask that you do not incur her anger by being disrespectful or obtuse. Lady Theodora despises both qualities.
Uh-huh. You say I'm one of the rogue trader's heirs, so there is another candidate?
There is, and you will meet him soon enough.
Why am I aboard this vessel? Why have I been brought here?
So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the rogue trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor. I see that you are shocked. Yes, you understood correctly. Lady Theodora's authority indeed supersedes that of those whom you obeyed before. The Lord Captain's power is so great that she is capable of performing unthinkable feats, such as changing the fate of a servant of the Imperium. Your fate.
It's quite a bit of power. I can actually zoom in and out of those. I assume you had some goal in mind when you decided to seek me out. Let us address it.
But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far. The Lord Captain and Master Edelthrad von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
Okay. By right of blood. Move your character by clicking the left mouse button on a spot on the screen. A symbol will appear and your character will move towards it. If the spot you choose is inaccessible, the symbol will appear in the closest accessible location. Alright. Ah, yeah. Of course, it's the middle mouse button to rotate shit.
I always have a backup plan.
What does this mean? What is that arrow? What does that mean? Huh. Alright, let me see here. Oh, that's how you move the camera. Okay, good to know. Alrighty. So now the real question. Pretty cool down here. Just get a feel for the room, right?
I always keep my options open.
I assume formations will be important later. Anywhoozin.
Is there money to be made?
I don't understand what right click does, but I'm gonna assume that it's something. Interactable objects. Some objects in the game can be interacted with in a special way. They are marked with specific icons. Some icons allow you to study objects. Others will transfer the character to neighboring locations or launch a small event. These icons become visible when your character is standing close enough to interactive objects. Alright. Others will transfer the character to neighboring locations or launch a small event. Prefer the associated action. Some interactive objects, such as doors or chests, are not always marked with icons, but the cursor changes when you hover over them. Hover your cursor over objects. If the cursor changes, the object is interactable. No. Good to know. Yeah. Alright. Obviously crafted from real wood, a resource of massive conference table, obviously crafted from real wood, a resource of incredible value aboard void ships. Can I not attach my camera to the character?
Miscalculations are for commoners. I don't make mistakes.
I guess
make
not.
profitable learning experiences.
Hmm. May his will strengthen my heart. May my humble deeds be for the benefit of humanity. The sacred mechanism has been interfered with without due irreverence. The duration of the data processing cycle has tripled. Oh, incomprehensible information is displayed on the large screen above the cogitators. You can make out references to unfamiliar systems and worlds among the numbers and logisticar symbols. Whatever the hell that means.
Keep your wits about you.
One of the Fon Valencia's trophy rooms. Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
What's happening?
Oh, here's our combat tutorial.
Run! The servitors have gone berserk! To arms!
You have been ambushed. The battle begins. To survive the grim darkness of the far future, you will have to face enemies of all kinds and fight for your life. All battles in the game are turn-based and take place on a grid. On their turn, a character can move, attack, and use their abilities. Select a cell within the highlighted area and double-click on it to move the character there. Movement points. MP. Determine how far a character can move on their turn. One movement point corresponds to one cell on the battlefield. Moving diagonally is more costly. Every second diagonal cell uses 2 movement points. At the beginning of each turn, movement points are restored to their maximum value. Note that once a character starts moving, this action can no longer be cancelled. Well, I got a gun, so hopefully I don't need to go too far with this. And I got a pistol of all things. Is that at my ammo counter? It is. Reloads equipped weapon. Oh, interesting. It looks like I'm out of movement points, though. Oh, no, that's my movement points. Okay, so what's this? That's movement points. What is this? Action points. So it's an action point. Costs 1 AP. Press space or click the end turn button on the bottom right of the screen. Oh, that's what this is. Alright. I guess we're kind of done here. I don't have a melee weapon. Only ranged. I don't have anything better against this, do I? It's just us now. Let's see. I'm thinking of maybe moving away a little bit over here. Okay, so that's how that works. Miss. To make attacks and use abilities in combat, a character must spend action points or AP. Their total is displayed on the panel at the bottom of the screen. It has a certain AP cost associated with it. The number of squares next to the icon of attack actions and their other abilities indicates their AP cost. To attack, first click left mouse button on the single shot icon on the weapons panel at the bottom of the screen. Hover the cursor over an enemy. A tooltip will appear showing your chances of hitting that enemy and the possible damage you can deal on a successful hit. Your character deals depends on parameters of the weapon they are using. The effectiveness of the shot depends on the distance between the character and their enemy. When you target an enemy with a single shot, you will see two areas denoting the weapon's effectiveness and maximum firing range. Certain abilities in the game are considered attack actions that can only be used once per turn unless affected by specific talents. If the character performs an attack action, they will not be able to attack again and will lose their movement points until the start of their next turn. He dodges. He dodges. He dodges. That's a lot of fucking actions.
Die!
Attack to now. Characters with melee weapons block adjacent enemies' abilities to perform attacks with ranged weapons. Pistols and shotguns are an exception to this rule. Those can be fired at point-blank range. Hmm. I'm not sure. Alright, if I were to move closer. Nope, I can't tell. Oh, I see. That's something else. What's this? Uh-huh. Well, I'm trying to figure that out, but... Oh, there we go. 90% chance. Alright, so now, what if we were to... instead move here? Still a decent chance. It's almost dead anyways.
I'll see to it you never stood a chance.
Attack of opportunity. Yeah, sorry if I'm taking it a little slow. I'm still trying to get used to the UI systems here. Characters with melee weapons can make an attack opportunity if an opponent in an adjacent cell initiates movement. It can also be triggered by some abilities. Yeah, definitely like Baldur's Gate. All characters with melee weapons, including members of your party, can make attacks of opportunity. The chance to hit and deal damage is calculated just like a normal attack.
What suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan.
Fascinating. Without taking his eyes off the bodies on the floor, Lloyd DeVere removes the Vox caster from his belt and speaks a few quick orders into the device. Then he turns to you.
I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
All right. Can I use the map to orient yourself? The wires in the servitor's head are still smoldering. It would seem the cause of this malfunction was the short-circuiting of the motive force. Tarantula sentry gun, constructed with the blessing of the Adeptus Mechanicus, using standard template construct in the manufactorums of Kiavagama. At any rate, we need to move on.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Normally in these types of situations, it should just be a straight shot. Jocasta Sarbach. Okay. Yep, it's just gonna be a straight shot there.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Character moves pretty fast.
That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide. Practically an admission of heresy.
By sin skin is twisted in a grimace of displeasure and disbelief.
Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation. No worse than my senator could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Edelthrad?
Should I survey the room? Listen in silence. I'm gonna survey the room, maybe? I say survey the room. Your first impression of Edelthrad, who appears to be about 30 years old, is of parchment-like skin stretched over a tightly bundled mass of sinew, implants, and bone. The nervously twitching fingers, the face twisted by a slight tic, and the jerky movements are all signs of some illness or defect that has taken over his physical form. In stark contrast to Edelthrad, Theodora von Valencia's features appear as if they were carved from marble, eternal and indestructible, head raised high, proud posture, hands clasped casually behind her back. Everything seems to emphasize the difference in status between her and Edelthrad. Behind the two of them, you see two more men. One is gray-haired officer of impeccable bearing who is studying the contents of his data slate. The other is a behemoth bristling with holsters and baldricks containing all manner of weapons.
Our second candidate has joined us. Approach and give me your answer.
The dry female voice and the powerful feeling of being watched force you to look at Theodora. The rogue traitor is looking straight at you, and her gaze, like herself, is predatory and oppressive.
Consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6. A new world on the fringes of the Coronis expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, What would you do with this poisoned treasure?
That's a fucking question and a half. Especially for a hypothetical. You sure not drawing from something specific? A new world on the fringes of the Coronis expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure? Your character's skills reflects their knowledge and capabilities. Some dialogue automatically initiates passive skill tests. If such a test succeeds, a new information will be revealed or a hidden dialogue option will unlock. If your character is traveling with allies, the party members with the highest score and the applicable skill is selected for each given skill test. Alright. Lore, Xenos, succeeded. Those spirits could well be the natives' name for dangerous aliens. I would first verify that is indeed the case, and if the population of Ion 6 engages in Xeno worship. Lore, warp, succeeded. There are ways to confirm what is happening on Ion 6 is witchcraft or not. It might cost several psychers to do so, but it will give us the answer. I guess going with the lower response would be the best one.
Reasonable and prudent. However, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and fruitless endeavor.
Apart from Xenos, an untrodden planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you are simply unaware of their existence.
Damn. I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which, as I understand, was still more than you could do, Adelthred. We are both servants of the God Emperor and Lady Theodora. Does it become anyone of our status to engage in petty feuds? I find your tone most disagreeable, Adelthred. You will kindly alter the manner in which you address me, or else you will live to regret the consequences. Shut your mouth, Adelthred, before I decide to shut it for you. I think this one is going to sting more. I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which is, as I understand, was still more than you could do, Adelthred. The color drains from Adelthred's face, which distorts his features.
Ignorant upstart. How dare you?
Edelthrad, I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck, instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview.
I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time.
Adelthred bows ceremoniously and takes his leave without sparing you another look. I like how he's very complimentary as he says that. Interesting that he doesn't have a portrait, though.
So, why are you here?
Well, is it not you who sent for me?
You have ceded the opening that was offered to you in a woeful display of meekness. Admittedly, this tendency is equally strong in all who toil in the Emperor's service. Immutable hierarchy, absolute obedience, lickspittlery, compulsion to please. I value none of these things. From the moment my envoys came for you, the terms of your existence changed.
I might have to adjust that later. Actually, you know what? I'll just do it now. Alright. I'm back. After taking a quick leak and getting myself a drink. Alright. I have a feeling that she didn't like our response, by the way.
My name is Theodora
I don't think so at all.
von Valancius Massimo of Scaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity. And my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic. The warrant of trade, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness, beyond the Imperium, and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign, and bow death and ruin to us all. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find thereon, resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you are one of those with von Valancius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes.
Fascinating. So what you're saying is that I am heir to a massive enterprise. Very fascinating. Though I don't understand why that is. One of? Does this mean there are other heirs? It's all too sudden for me. I'm ready to take on a sacred purpose. I'm gonna say I'm ready to take on a sacred purpose. Let's not pussy out on this. She clearly doesn't like that, so we're gonna go with that.
Oh yes, you would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you over the rest? You came aboard hours before the warp jump, and have not yet distinguished yourself in any way. As things currently stand, I have doubts that you are suitable for the role of rogue trader.
Sounds like I'm gonna need to prove myself. Alright, how are we doing that?
Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Kunrad Voitvir served me for many years before he made his mistake.
Did I hear you correctly? The Master of Whispers is related to you?
His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name von Valancius, even if he avoids using it publicly, and as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. Voitvir's performance in his current role is satisfactory. Or it used to be, at least.
I see. So he's another one. So let me get this straight. They're all related to her specifically, right? So my character, Voidafir, all, and this other heir, or heirs, they're all related to her specifically. She must have been around for quite a while if she's been getting around this much. She almost looks like a pirate captain. Pretty neato. Anyways, thank you for clarifying. May I ask some questions now?
I have have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge.
The Vox fixed to Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life, but all you can hear is unintelligible noise. Theodora winces, shuts off the transmission, and gives you an imperious nod. Interesting. Okay. Navigator, translation. What are these things that you speak of? God, might as well sound like I'm completely fucking stupid, shall I? An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew. This seems like the first thing you would want to address, right?
Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance. Or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Gellerfield. Or perhaps there is something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all.
She does not give a single fuck, does she? Yeah. By the way, this is, if you know what kind of game this is, the slow progression and the few action is pretty much the name of the game for these type of games. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with it. You know, it seems like a fun game.
Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by uneducated riffraff.
Uneducated riffraff.
Enough, Abelard. Such hearsay amuses me. Idira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. This ship is thousands of years old. It has enough hidden nooks, malfunctioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folks speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live.
Where is your ship headed?
The Rykad system, the domain of rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers, and rivals. Besides me, 2 other rogue traders exist in the Coronis Expanse, and each of them possesses resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valancius in surpassing both of them in affluence and splendor. I set the course for Rykad on the demand for a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet apprise you of the purpose for this voyage, but now is not the time.
She's reluctant to share that information. Okay. What are my current responsibilities?
Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Edelthrad. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide.
I have no more questions.
In that case, I shall head to... Disturbances reported on the adjacent decks. Seneschal, if the need arises, protect the new blood. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated.
Yeah, that figures. Oh, damn. Holy shit. They really went all out for this.
You will beg for mercy, but
All
I will grant
combatants.
none.
Surrender to the dark powers!
All combatants act in turns, and their order is determined by initiative roll. The order of turns is displayed on the left side of the screen from bottom to top. The characters at the very bottom go first, then one above them, and so on. Okay, good to know. My turn is in for a bit, but Theodora and her lot basically get a turn. Which makes sense. This will probably show us exactly what she's like.
Don't touch me.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. I took care of this one.
vigilant. Ha! Death to the heretics!
God
Out
damn.
of my way!
Just a minor setback. Brace yourself, Avalon!
And your doom!
Use cover to avoid enemy attacks. Cover that a character can hide behind are marked with a shield or a shield with a skull. When standing close to them, the character will automatically take up an advantageous position. In this case, the chance that an enemy attack will hit the cover and not the character behind them increases. The character will not receive a bonus if attacked from a side not protected by their current cover. I see. Let's use my ability for once.
On it.
95. Yes. And I can fire again.
Your end was inevitable.
All right. I'm getting it.
Death to non-believers!
I bring ruin!
Ooh, she's got a
I've
plasma
seen worse
pistol.
battles than this in my time. Reduced to dust! One fewer target.
My faith strengthens me. For the glory of the Imperium!
Oh.
Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single whoreson survive.
Your characters have received a temporary positive effect from an ally. Such effects can enhance your character's capabilities in combat in some way. To learn more about the effect you have gained, hover your cursor over the effects icon next to the character's portrait. Alright, good to know.
Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck, huh? Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel.
Yeah, well, you're talking to someone who basically was in the Astra Militarum. It's, I don't think you have the option to really be squinting or wincing or cowering in the face of danger. What are your orders?
Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Arch-Militant requires aid. And be quick about it.
I would ask what the hell's going on, but clearly this takes a bit more priority.
I always have a backup plan.
Exit. Is there a journal? Oh, wait. There we go. Alright. The office deck is under attack by an unknown enemy, so Arch-Militant has left to clear the way to the lift leading to the upper decks. The officer has not returned yet, so it is time to find out the cause of the delay. Alright.
Is there money to be made?
Hold on, Master, just stay with us. The heretic's body is riddled with holes, and an improvised single shotgun lies smoking next to the body. Neat. He's using a melt-a-gun, I'm assuming.
Thank Providence you are alive and well.
Always on time, eh, Coonrad? The moment we finish chasing the riffraff around the deck, you show up. Always just after the fighting's done. You could set your chrono by it.
Mort, hold yourself together.
What, did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We're all done here. I'll report right away.
Pulls his box from the belt and hurriedly reports on the situation. No, she's right there.
Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent. The Voxmaster is not responding. Armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my arch-militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report!
I have not yet received word from the Engineerium regarding any Gellerfield failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago, and now they have ceased altogether. Whatever the cause may be, the consequences are spreading fast. I am receiving scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only Voxcasts from the lower bays are one-way heretical gibberish. That the madmen have already reached the officer's deck suggests that this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny.
We must provide immediate assistance to those still on the middle decks. Perhaps then we might stop this wave from spreading.
First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure. And I have the means to do both things at once.
Do explain. Her expression changes as her eyes flash ominously.
Edelthrad, where is he? I must know if he is unharmed. A psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by the warp could pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons.
So he's a psyker? Huh.
I tried to locate him, but the last thing known about his movements is that he arrived on Transitional Deck 18.
Blast it! Master of Whispers, find Edelthrad immediately. Seneschal, locate Tlas and the Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my side. Arch-militant, with me. I must go to my study. And it appears we might encounter heretics along the way.
Theodora glances at you thoughtfully.
If I may, Lord Captain. Transitional Deck 18 is at the heart of the disturbance, and if our goal is to bring Edelthrad back, I could use some support. After all, I'm not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the House as the esteemed Arch-Militant, and taking into consideration Edelthrad's psyker powers.
Then it's settled. Find Edelthrad and bring him here. In whatever state you find him. This elevator leads to restricted compartments such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me down. I require you both. Do you understand?
I won't lose our dearest heir somewhere along. That's a fucking line. I hear and obey, Lord Captain.
Then move out! Mort, come.
And yes, I am role-playing.
you ready to head to 18? It is a long walk, and you do not even have proper gear.
I have a proposition. Since I am the more important person here, you can go in the front to shield me from potential threats. That's a fucking proposition indeed. You had better not fail me. The Lord Captain made it clear that relying on you is fraught with risk. I'm not gonna be an asshole. I shall make do. Lead the way.
Of course you will. Lady Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs. But that is no longer relevant.
With a pop and sharp crackle, something hits you in the abdomen, and you are consumed by unbearable gut-wrenching pain. Oh, you piece of shit. I promise you a special destiny, Cornelius. It is time to fulfill it. What are they doing to me? Oh boy, where is this going? This took a turn for the worst. I had a feeling Void Devere was a fucking piece of shit. I knew this guy was a fucking asshole. I could just smell it. I could sniff it the moment I saw him. Not really, but, you know, he was giving off very obvious signs that he was a dickhead. You can enable and install DLCs in your current playthrough by opening the... Is this something that always needs to show up?
Careful. Be gentle with our guest. He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warren Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Oh, you are back with us, I see. Delightful.
Void Devere, you two-faced scum. You are the one behind this mayhem.
How perceptive of you. I'll help you with the next insight. I need you here for your blood. You have the option to share it voluntarily, or I will squeeze it out of you myself. We are in the anteroom of the Warren Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There, beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred Warrant of Trade. Only one obstacle remains on my path to obtaining it. The gates of the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel, an ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel.
Yoo-hoo, that's an insult. I will help you as long as you spare my life. Will you let me join you? We can take the warrant from Theodora together. Why are you doing this?
Why? Because I am following an order. What is happening on this ship right now has been in the making for a very long time. All that remains is to obtain what my master sent me for. The Warrant of Trade.
What is it, inbred? Is your blood too thin for the Sentinel?
On the contrary, the Warp's blessing has raised me too much above your kind, Fon Valencius. The Sentinel refused to submit to me. But you can help. After all, isn't that what family is for?
Coercion has succeeded. What sorry, pathetic excuse do you even have for your apostasy? You sordid, wretched piece of grok shit. God damn. That's a fucking thing. How is this coercion, by the way? How is this fucking coercion? Can someone explain that to me? Oh yeah, I'm coercing you. I'm coercing you to do my bidding or on my side by calling you a fucking piece of grok shit. That's that's a fucking thing. Anyways, I'm gonna repeat that line just because it's so good. What sorry, pathetic excuse do you even have for your apostasy? You sordid, wretched piece of rock shit.
Wretched. What do you know about wretchedness? Theodora's cur. Are you hoping to buy a grain of her indulgence with your blind loyalty? Oh, I know this delusion. But thank the gods it no longer has power over me. Humanity can rot. I no longer serve mortal kind.
Fascinating. He is working for demons. Something either your tone or the venomous words throws Conrad off for a moment as hateful fury blazes from beneath the mask of a cold professional. Yeah, that makes sense.
Once my work is done, I'll make that pompous wench von Valencia's watch as I sacrifice her entire dynasty and commit their fate to the gods. And you will be the instrument by which I will accomplish this righteous act.
Yes, very righteous indeed. The blade flashes in the dim light, and drops of blood appear on your palm. For a brief moment you feel nauseous, your head is spinning, and then quiet whispers begin to flood your mind. More and more sourceless voices echo each other, drowning out your own thoughts, replacing them with singular urge. Go to the gate. Go to the gate. Go to the gate. Fight the voice in your head. I will do as you require, but I will find a way to make you pay for this. Enough threats, I will comply with your demands. I'm gonna fight the voices in my head. The voices in your head giggle and mock your desperate outcry. You feel this intruding influence force you onto your feet and make you take a step toward the gates, looming in the center of the chamber. You were wounded by the corrupted weapon, which led to a warp entity invading your mind. Skill tests and dialogue. One of the available dialogue options require making a skill test, unlike with passive tests, which are made automatically. In this case, you can decide whether or not to select an option, the consequences of which will depend on the results of the associated test. Success or failure affects how the dialogue will develop. Depending on the context, you might change the course of the conversation, alter the character's attitude, or perform an action whose consequence will only become apparent later. Hover your cursor over the dialogue option that requires a skill test, and you will see a tooltip detailing your chances of success. The number after the skill's name indicates the difficulty to the test. The number after the skill's name indicates the difficulty of the test. Once your character starts traveling with allies, the party members with the highest score in the applicable skill will be selected for each test. I am grateful for that. Tech use, 75. Shit. Chance, 100%. Look back, look for anything that could be used as a weapon. In the gateway arch, you see a cogitator with a human likeness built onto the front panel. As you approach, the torso twitches slightly. This is a servitor, an obedient automaton created from a lobotomized human being. The sentinel turns its head to you, one of its eye sockets lighting up with two ember-like irises. Tech use 75. Examine the device. Test succeeded. You carefully inspect the design of the gate cogitator. What immediately catches your eye is the strange alloy that was used as a material for the machine's components, some of which are unfamiliar to you. You suspect this might be some kind of archaeotech relic. Gain 20 experience. The servitor on the gate begins to move. With the screeching and groaning of metal, it leans forward, closer to you. Its lower jaw opens, and with a drawn-out shriek, much wider than the jaw of a living human could, the servitor's mouth is filled with sharp metallic fangs that glint in the dim light. The vid screen to the right of you lights up, showing strings of mysterious symbols on the screen's background. Alright. A whisper runs through your consciousness, insisting, demanding sacrifice. The voices that filled your head after Vodavir wounded you with his blade did not go away. On the contrary, their source coiled itself into a tight knot somewhere in the depths of your mind. Examine the sentinel. Place your hand on the sentinel's maw. Look back. Look for anything that could be used as a weapon. I already examined the sentinel, right? I'll try it. Yeah, I did. Okay. Place your hand into the maw, look back, look for anything that could be used as a weapon. Look for anything that could be used as a weapon. You look around in hopes of finding at least something that could work as a weapon. You search it is in vain. The chamber anteroom is completely empty and in perfect working condition. There, a broken panel or a protruding piece of rebar in sight. Look back.
Did you forget something? I suggest you hurry.
Place your hand on the sentinel's maw. It's the only thing we can do now. The sentinel's jaw clamp around your hand, puncturing your skin and sinking into your flesh. A few dark drops fall into the servitor's throat, and immediately you hear a humming as the servo motors start up and the pumps stir into motion. The vid screen of the cogitator flickers. Several long minutes pass. The sentinel's jaw remains closed and you are beginning to feel sick. Perhaps if you were to lean against the gates, you could catch your breath. Maybe even close your eyes and pretend none of this ever happened.
High levels of caustic humors. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
You don't understand where this quiet voice is coming from. Crackling like static. Is it the sentinel? The cogitator? Is it a fragment of your weary mind? Whichever it is, you can clearly hear every word. Who is this?
Genetic code identified. Child of House von Valancius. Do you require assistance?
And this time you realize that it is coming from the two speakers built into the sentinel's shoulders. You hear a displeased grunt in your mind as if the lurking entity has sensed something that is not to its liking. Yes, Sentinel. Traitors threaten my life and the safety of the warrant. Pain shoots through your head and subsides just as quickly. It would seem the entity coiled in your consciousness does not have the ability to do you any real harm.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
There is still another way.
I guess I could better go in. The enormous gates match the importance of the thing they protect. The massive doors are made of heavy metal and look impregnable. You probably can't go back that way.
Keep your wits about you.
So this is it, huh? Why is it so big? It seems rather inconvenient. Let it be known that by my will and by the true words of this document, I appoint this person to be the bearer of the warrants of trade and bestow upon them their dynasty to the great something, to be the paragon of humanity, unbroken by adversity, to walk bravely first into darkness, to unite and reclaim what was lost, to triumph over nightmares untold, to hold boldly the reins of fate, to walk steadily to the road of thorns and something else. Oh, hello.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
What madness is happening here? Who are you? Who addresses me? I need a weapon. I am utterly defenseless. I need to contact someone, preferably Theodora.
Voxcast frequencies disrupted. Initiating setup. Establishing connection.
Voxmaster, restore communication with the Navigator's Sanctum. I am trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces and head to the upper decks at once. I repeat, regroup all available forces and head...
Communication protocols breached. Signal latency assessment unavailable. Unable to establish two-way connection.
I need a weapon. I am utterly defenseless.
Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations.
The servoscope goes silent. It relays clicking. Second after second passes, and you realize that the servoscope will not answer you.
Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel standing by.
Are you the Warren Sentinel?
Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel, designed as a personal escort of the Child of the House and a means of communicating with the Rogue Trader's subjects. Mobile unit standing by.
Leave me away from here.
Middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated. The mobile unit will start executing the received order immediately after the safety of the warrant is secured.
As the game's story unfolds, you will see notifications at the top of the screen indicating that the status of your current objective has been updated and that new information has been added to your journal. You can open journal by pressing J. Helps you keep track of your current events and guide your character on their journey. The quest tabs, yeah, I know how that shit works. The rumors and contract section also contain important information. You will learn more about them later. Good enough.
I always keep my options open.
There seem to be more places around here, but let me see. Oh, is there something over here? No, it doesn't look like it. Alright.
Always keep your eye on the price.
So... I no longer have a weapon. Where am I going? Do I have to use this for something? No one must reach the warrant. A simple order to the Sentinel Conjurer will lock the chamber. Oh, that's all I had to do?
Master! Whatever are you doing in the warrant chamber? How did you... Throne preserve me! What is the meaning of this?
He has lost some of his former polish, his forehead is sweating, and one of his sleeves of his coat is torn and soaked through with blood. Nonetheless, despite his heavy breathing, he stands firm and his gaze is demanding, albeit somewhat surprised. Whatever are you doing here? He surveys the carnage around him. His brow furrows, and he places a hand on his weapon. Conrad Voidavir is a traitor. When we parted ways on the officer's deck. He stunned me somehow and brought me here.
What?
He intended to take revenge on Theodora for something, and trying to reach the warrants was somehow part of the plan.
Oh, holy God, Emperor! I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. And, Master, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora.
Why don't we leave the matters of etiquette for another time, so it would seem, but he is not here. We have immunity to end. Voidavir openly admitted that he is the mastermind behind the mutiny.
Saint's blood! Then it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster.
Indeed, except I don't know why you would want to.
You're in a bad way. I can treat your wounds. I have a Medicaid kit with me. And, for the love of the throne, now is not a good time to be walking around the decks without means of self-defense. Here.
Item received: lasgun, flak chestplate, and medkit. While fighting, your characters can lose some of their wounds. Your characters have suffered an injury after being attacked by Conrad. This happens when a character receives damage that exceeds 50% of their maximum wounds. Within one round, the exact percentage of wounds a character must lose for this to happen may vary depending on the difficulty of the game you choose. Injuries reduce the character's resolve. When a character initially suffers an injury, it is considered a fresh injury during the first 3 rounds. Once 3 rounds have passed, a fresh injury becomes an old injury. A fresh injury can be healed using a medkit without passing any skill tests. Old injuries can be healed with a medkit, but they require character administering the treatment to pass a Medicaid skill test to succeed. Use medkits to restore wounds and heal injuries. Note that when a character loses all their wounds, they fall unconscious. It's weird that they call it wounds instead of just fucking health. Once the combat is over, the wounds of all party members are replenished automatically, but any injuries they may have sustained remain. Those can be healed with a medikit. Medikit can only be used by characters who have field medic features, base skill Medicaid, or have taken Medicaid skill advancement at least once. Whenever a character uses a medikit in battle, a Medicaid skill test determines the number of wounds that will be restored as a result. Abelard can heal your character injury. Click with the left mouse button on Abelard's portrait, select the medikit on the panel at the bottom left of the screen, then use it on your character. To equip new items or armor, open your inventory. Yeah. Item. Alternatively, you can hold and drag the item to the right slot. It will become highlighted once you start dragging the item. You can switch between party members using arrows to the top of the screen.
My gut tells me it's a bad idea.
Okay, so I can't just place it anywhere. By the by, I really want to take off the hat now. Is there a way to do that? There we go. Now take that off. Apply. All right.
What advice do you seek?
The medikit. All right. 6 movement points.
This wound will make a fine scar. That is a noticeable improvement. Now you're prepared for the trials ahead. The lower decks are teeming with heretics, instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the scoundrels and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse, although strike teams have already been dispatched there. All communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on. But that is not the worst of it all. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the warp and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive.
What exactly has gone wrong with the translation?
I am no helmsman. Oh, God Emperor preserve me, navigator. However, I've spent my entire life aboard void ships equipped with warp drives, and I know that portents such as these do not bode well. It could be that the Gellerfield has faltered. Perhaps the navigator was struck down by warp corruption and is fighting for the last shreds of his humanity as we speak. If we get thrown off course, we will be forever lost in the war. Naturally, we would likely not have long to live in that scenario. But I will not resign myself to such an outcome just yet.
How did you find me?
You sent me a Vox message. Specifically, a Voxcast on the officer's frequency, which I had the good fortune to receive. You mean to say you did no such thing?
I think the Warren Sentinel may have sent that message. It appeared when I opened the chamber.
Warren Sentinel? The Lord Captain barely ever ventures down to the chamber, and I was at her side only once or twice when she did. And I did not see anything of the sort. The Warren Chamber is an ancient and rather sacred mechanism that the ship's tech priests treat with the utmost reverence. I assume that whatever it is that you did, you must have activated certain processes and caused the Sentinel to awaken. But then, why did none of it happen when Lady Theodora did the same?
Interesting. If I'm hearing this right, Theodora doesn't even have this level of access that I do. That's fascinating, actually. What can we expect to find? I heard one of Theodora's Voxcasts. What can we expect to find in the Navigator Sanctum?
During warp transit, the Sanctum is closed to all who are not involved in traversing the Empyrean. And for good reason. For the Navigator to open their third eye and perceive the way, the Sanctum must be bathed in the energies of the Immaterium. Only a Navigator can withstand such an ordeal. For the rest of us, any contact with the warp is fraught with perils such as loss of sanity, spontaneous mutations, and death.
Baldur does not bat an eye as he lists all of the horrors that you are about to face. I heard one of Theodora's Voxcasts.
Lady Theodora's. Which one? The last one I received was about the Navigator's Sanctum, and that was a good while ago. In any case, let us hope that the Lord Captain is well, and safely in charge of the ship's defense. In the meantime, we must do all we can to prevent the ship from veering off course.
For the Imperium and humanity, lead the way, Senescal.
Come. The Lord Captain is calling her crew to battle. which means the Vox networks are set up for broadcast transmission, not message exchange. Splendid. While the rogue trader inspires proper resolve to fight in her subjects, you and I shall prove that her trust in us is well deserved. Onward!
Rightio. No, of course.
Just make the spoils that much sweeter.
Tactical phase. Combat begins with tactical phase, during which characters cannot attack or take other actions, but may try to take up advantageous positions. Oh, interesting. Select a character by clicking the left mouse button on their portrait at the top of the screen, then click left mouse button on the cell you want the character to move to. Red cells are areas inaccessible to the character during the tactical phase. Each character in the party may move up to their maximum movement points, but cannot position themselves adjacent to an enemy. Interesting that we could do placements. Get your characters into position. I'm not sure where to move them, though. Could I activate the defenses again? That'd be pretty cool, actually. I'll start him here. Oh no, that's Abelard. All right. Start battle. Your new companion is a warrior. Abelard specializes in melee combat and drawing the enemy attacks. Charge is a unique warrior ability that works only when they are using a melee weapon and is not considered an attack action. Use charge to close the distance between you and the enemy and deal damage. Click the left mouse button on the ability icon and choose direction to charge in. If an enemy is in direct path of charge, Abelard will attack them and will still be able to use an attack action afterward if he has not used one in this turn. Note that charge can only be used if the character is 2 or more cells away from the target. This character uses melee weapons. Melee attacks require the character to be adjacent to the enemy. To make a melee attack, click the left mouse button on the strike ability and then on the enemy you wish to attack. Unlike single shots, melee attack hits automatically with no need for a roll. The enemy will try to dodge and parry the attack if they are using a melee weapon of their own. Melee weapons can be used to make area attacks. All characters in the area will suffer damage unless they succeed on a dodge test or parry test if they are armed with a melee weapon. Damage dealt by melee weapons depends on the weapon's parameters and attack strength score. Let me see here. That's strike. That's cleave. Charge. Oh, that didn't actually hit anyone. Son of a bitch.
At your beck and call.
Bastard parried it. For 1 round, the Navy officer and their allies in 3 cell radius can deflect for each archetype. Your character had just missed. To increase hit chance, equip your character with a decent weapon and place them on a vantage point. Abilities and talents that improve your weapon skill characteristics will help you hit more. For improved marksmanship, learn the talents and increase the perception and ballistic skill.
Victory is imminent.
Combat abilities of characters differ depend on the archetype. Available abilities are located at the bottom right of the screen in the ability panel. To read the full description of the ability, hover your cursor over it, then right mouse button on it. While you are hovering your cursor over a character or an area of your choosing, you will see the abilities area effect. And each character in this area will have a number displayed over them, denoting the probability of being successfully affected. I can't interact with it. Alright. Looks like everyone's just using melee weapons. In that case, I'll move here. Is that designating... Well, I guess that means I can shoot them from here. Oh, wait a minute. Did I equip it? Oh, I did. It's just in the wrong tab. Probability is 75. Probability is also 75. Still 75. You know what? I'll just hang over here and fire from a distance. Burst fire. There we go. I'm starting to see some differences now of probability. Nice. All right. Nice.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Be careful, commanders can get hurt by your burst attacks and area attacks. To avoid friendly fire, keep an eye on the trajectory of your shots and the area of effect of area attacks and melee burst attacks. Okay, fascinating. Don't have to go very far for this.
Indeed, the more the better.
God damn. What are you, in Astartes?
Someone else can do this.
Launches a melee attack against any target in the warrior's path. This attack does not count towards the limit of the warrior's attack. There must be at least 2 free cells to use charge.
I will do my duty.
Alright, this one's a little weird. I guess it might be have to be in a diagonal way. Well, not diagonal, but in like a vertical or horizontal type of thing. It's purely X and Y axis type shit, and not literal diagonal, I'm assuming. Alright. Actually, no. Maybe I'm too close. Seems fine.
I am ready for whatever comes.
Sound seems to break every time I move my character, which is interesting.
I'll make it happen.
Damn, I missed.
Just a minor setback. That's not the Seneschal's job.
Well, you're gonna hit him. Oh, he's got a chainsword. Nice.
Let's make some opportunities.
You're in which your actions are taken in combat matters or okay, whatever, you know. You can advance level of your character and companions, prevailing in battles, exploring the Coronis Expanse, and completing quests earn you experience points. Once you have accumulated enough experience, your characters gain new levels, yeah. New progression options, which include abilities, talents, and skills. The order in which actions are taken in combat matters, your character can only move around the battlefield before they take an action. Once a character attacks, they lose their remaining movement points. Unable to move until the start of their next turn, there is a way around this, however. If for example, the character has some way of gaining movement points after attacking. I see.
I will lead us to fortune.
What did I get? Choose a skill. I only have one skill to choose. Oh, I'm touching my mouse pad. My touchpad. Let's see. Huh? Oh, I have to choose it from here? Okay. That makes more sense then. Okay, let's see here. The skill affected by perception. Demolition. The skill is affected by agility. I'm gonna say awareness. Only one? Alright, got it. Complete. Alright. As for you, it represents a character's ability to traverse through difficult terrain, for example, to leap over collapsed sections of the deck or climb over slippery rocks. This effect of toughness, it represents the ability to resist negative effects applied by some poison, stimulators, or alcohol. May give access to new dialogue. Why not? Alright. Bit of a combat scenario right now. Alrighty. Let's see, and I guess with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. So far, I'm enjoying this. The story seems pretty fascinating. So, one thing I was not expecting going into this was that, actually, I wasn't sure what I was expecting going into this. I wasn't expecting really much. One thing I can't really say I'm surprised by anything because everything's surprising, really, as a matter of fact. One thing I will say, though, is that it's a little simpler so far than Baldur's Gate 3, for example. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot of mechanics. I mean, mind you, Larian Studios really simplified their earlier mechanics seen in Divinity and among other things, but this game feels like it's a more simplified version of those types of games, which is nice, because I know the barriers to entry for a lot of these types of RPGs is usually very high, and it requires a level of understanding of the mechanics that most people just cannot really delve into or care to delve into. But I guarantee you that if you've played at least Baldur's Gate 3 or a game like this for a prolonged period of time, you will begin to understand how these games typically play. They all play very much the same way. This is one of those examples. But anyways, yeah. So this is the pause button. Anyways, so yeah, that has been Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. I'm interested to see where the story goes from here. Oh, I can loot corpses now. That's nice to know. But yeah, I'm starting to become more important as time goes on, it looks like. It looks like I am the selected quote-unquote rogue trader that's supposed to go out and do some adventuring. Probably meet other rogue traders and get up to some other shit. Meet other cultures, maybe establish alliances. That'll be pretty cool, actually. Can you imagine? Like I could be the one Imperium character who tries to establish relations with other races and cultures, among other things. Even ones that might seem heretical, right? I guess it's gonna depend on, like, the situation and the connotations at hand. But anyways, yeah. So that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.